Hey, Sean here, and we are finally at the last guide/commentary for this tier, which is going to be KT. This is obviously post-nerf KT, which is not really what I would call a nerf, more like a change, just to make the fight shorter. It's still as annoying as it was before, and nothing really changes as far as how you play it. So right off the bat, I'm going to recommend that you play the Good Boy talent setup, which is going to be Echo's Elements Blast, that is Moat and Ice Fury. The only damage that actually matters on this fight is damage to Soul Shards, damage to Glacial Spikes, and damage to KT in P3 specifically. For that, Echoes of Great Sundering is the best, I would say, overall for doing all those things. If for some unknown reason you need more P3 damage, then you can play Wind Speakers, that's okay, perfectly fine. This fight, again, doesn't count towards your all-star points, so parses mean literally nothing on this. I have like a 94 on it, and I really don't even care. I probably will never bother playing the super pad build on this, which is for Storm Alley with Aftershock. Don't play Seed on this, that would be pretty cringe. It's bad on this fight. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say as far as talent makeup. Definitely run Crane on this. Don't run Dreamweaver. Crane is just overall better because I would say pretty much the most important thing is obviously P3 damage for KT, burning that down. But that really honestly just gets handled by Lust. It's not even a hard check to make at all. So really the most important damage in this fight is actually Soul Shards, the tank adds, getting those out of the fight as soon as possible. So you definitely want to make sure that you have Karain, because that helps you like shred those. You should be like near the top, if not the top, depending on how you play the fight. The way I play the fight isn't like the super Soul Shard killer way. I definitely could do more to them, but I do enough as it is. So I kind of focus on making sure that the Glacial Spikes get shit on, because I'm like our top damage by a lot on Glacial Spikes. Obviously, as far as Devoted goes, don't really hold anything for them ever. You may have like some times where things naturally line up. If it doesn't actually line up, then sure, go ham on them, go nuts. But really don't focus on the Devoted. Those will get like killed off naturally because everyone just loves hitting them for some reason. What do you call it? I don't even have I think there's a weak aura or some kind of plugin that actually shows their damage on details, because it doesn't show it by default. So I don't even see the Soul Shard and Devoted damage on my details. I really don't even look at details on this fight, even though I still do like our top damage in the actual log. So yeah, don't really focus on Devoted in this fight. Just hit Soul Shards and kill the Glacial Spikes when you're supposed to. And we'll go over how to do that in the actual video. Okay, and so this will be a recent reclear of KT in my guild. So we'll go ahead and play it. And this will be another fight where you do a good old Stormkeeper at 10. And I don't think I talked about it actually in all the other videos, but the way you kind of play your Stormkeeper charges is, I mean, you can obviously just watch how I do it, since I have like not rotation helper, but a rotation like shower. We've recently cast things, but you want to focus on getting your Soul Shard, or not Soul Shards, but the Stormkeeper charges out as soon as possible. And then you do your Fate Transfusion. And again, the way that you're going to play this fight is a heavy focus on killing Soul Shards. Obviously, if you get a silence pull like I do, and you're going to get silence, so you can't really hit them. But you're just really going to blow everything on just killing those like as soon as possible. Ice Fury is exceptional at doing that. And just make sure you have an Echoes proc ready for the Glacial Spikes, since that's pretty much your like second job in this fight, is to like nuke these like super hard. You should always be the top damage on Glacial Spikes, unless you're like padding your brains out on Devoted, because the way the like time usage work out is that it's either Glacial Spikes or Devoted that you can be AoEing with your Stormkeeper. So you'll see this is one of the times where your Stormkeeper just lines up with the Devoted, so you can feel free to go ham on them because there's literally nothing else to hit. But in general, you're just hitting Soul Shards and hitting the boss. With how the fight is now, of course, you can not have to hold anymore, so you just go full ham on the boss. And then the way you're going to play the intermission is just stop the A-bombs primarily and kind of focus on them. Obviously interrupt your ad if you're given an ad to interrupt, and just try to, of course, keep Flame Shock on as many things as possible. The most important thing is you interrupt your ad, so focus on that above everything else. If you notice that a Banshee Cry is going off and it's on you, make sure you Astral Shift because it will hurt. And of course, listen to your raid leader on stop DPS calls and everything like that. If your Stormkeeper comes up in this phase for whatever reason, just do your damage or whatever. Make sure you don't use it on those ads unless it's at the very start. Just go ahead and save it for the first Glacial Spikes. It's a better time to do it. And of course, same thing. Make sure you're hitting the ads, posting those, interrupting them. You can also stun them with things like Cap Totem, so make sure you do that if you don't have an interrupt, but you know a cast might go through. Beyond that, not really like crazy good times to use defensives on this fight. Just kind of use them whenever you feel threatened, like during Glacial Spikes maybe or something, but usually raid CVs are more than enough to cover it. Really nothing can actually like kill you on this fight from an individual standpoint. There's nothing to die to since you don't have to go down. You're just kind of hitting ads. So I mean, I'm just gonna keep skipping through. Like I said, it's just hitting the ads when they come out with like Frost Shock, and then prepping EOGS for when the Glacial Spikes come out. If you do like know that there's no Glacial Spikes coming out or not a Dark Evocation coming out, and there's like two soul shards next to each other, feel free to drop an Earthquake on them then. And then as far as, I should mention this, as far as positioning goes in the intermission, you either want to be at the very front of the room or the, like, where you place the pools for the Devoted, or you want to be like almost in the very middle where you go down to the Remnant room, because the way the ads spawn, if you're like kind of in that V, like that very wide V shape, at like the front of the room, like along those lines, the ads can spawn on you and sometimes just instantly tap you and one-shot you, which is bad. And if that happens, it's not the tank's fault. It's not anyone's fault but yours, because you just don't want to be really standing there. No reason to do so. So just stand out of the way. That way you won't get hit, and there should be literally no problems living. And again, if you get silences, just make sure you focus on taking those out of the raid to the front of the room as soon as possible. It's soul shards, and I mean, really that's about it. We can skip ahead to P3 here. Obviously, if you get the big swirly, you're gonna have to take it out of the raid and die. Luckily, of course, we have Ankh, so we can instantly bring ourselves back up. But usually you'll be like separated, so make sure you have soul shape up for that, so you can blink back over to the group. Otherwise, you're gonna be isolated and just die to the taking damage. And of course, you're one of the classes with a low CD ranged interrupt, which is pretty critical in this last phase. So your main focus should be, since you don't really do that great single target damage, your main focus should just be making sure you get your interrupt every single time, and be very vocal about calling your interrupts in this phase. It can be kind of hectic for everyone, so just make sure you're saying, hey, I got circle next, or hey, I got X next, whatever you need to do to ensure that the boss is killed. And yeah, that's the whole raid I think about now, besides Terragru and Guardian. But again, those are single target burns, and they're literally the same as they are in Heroic, with very minute differences. So I don't think I really need to go over those. Yeah, so that'll pretty much cover everything. If KT gets changed again, which I kind of expect it to, I'll probably do another guide covering that, but I don't expect it to really be changed in a way that like I need to add more tips or anything. When I do learn how to play the Seeds build, I'll probably start playing it on Farb now, now that everything's settled back down. Then maybe I'll put a guide out for that, how to play that, since it's starting to pick up. Good old Korean and Chinese shaman players doing God's work again. Well, just Korean and Chinese players in general, honestly, especially the mages. Shout out to them. But yeah, it was a pretty okay tier. Not the best, but it was pretty fun to play as a shaman. I'll go ahead and like put out a video on Night Fae and Necrolord, and also just discussing how I feel about shaman and maybe what I think about them. Looking forward to the next tier. So you can look forward to all of that. I'll probably be putting out a lot more content now that I have a little bit more free time. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. If you guys liked the videos, hope you found it helpful, and see you next time. Peace.